Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about something that many of you might not want to hear. We are going to talk about stopping being kind. Kindness is a beautiful trait. It's something we all value and strive for in our relationships, our communities, and our daily lives. It's what makes the world go round, right? But here's the truth no one wants to say. Being kind isn't always enough. Sometimes kindness can be a crutch, a shield we hide behind to avoid confrontation or difficult decisions. We tend to believe that just by being nice, by offering our support, we're doing enough. But the reality is, kindness can sometimes be a passive approach to problems that require active solutions. When we're kind, we're often trying to create harmony, to smooth things over, to keep the peace. And while that's admirable, it's not always what's needed in a situation. Some situations demand a deeper level of commitment and action, not just a gentle gesture. There are moments in life where kindness, in its softest form, may even be the thing that enables negative patterns to continue. It's like trying to put a Band-Aid on a wound that needs stitches. It may cover it temporarily, but it won't heal it properly. Take relationships, for example. Sometimes people stay in toxic relationships because they're too kind to walk away. They're too kind to make the hard decision to leave, even when staying is hurting them. They avoid the confrontation, the uncomfortable conversation, because kindness has taught them to avoid upsetting others. But is that really kindness? Or is it enabling bad behavior? The true act of kindness in these situations would be to let go, to show the person that their actions have consequences, and to take a stand for what's healthy, not just for you, but for them too. This same idea applies in business, in leadership, and in personal growth. Kindness is great when you're helping others, but at times you've got to be strategic, tough, and firm. In the world of success, sometimes you have to make decisions that aren't easy to make, decisions that may seem harsh or uncompromising, but they are what will propel you to the next level. If you're always kind and always considerate of everyone's feelings, you might find yourself stuck in mediocrity, hesitant to make the hard calls that are necessary for real growth. Let's also consider the point of personal progress. There's a fine line between being kind to yourself and being complacent. If you constantly say, it's okay, I'll try again tomorrow, you're being kind to yourself, but at what cost? Are you really growing, or are you just avoiding the discomfort of pushing yourself past your limits? Kindness can sometimes act as a buffer to prevent you from facing the raw, uncomfortable truth that growth often requires discomfort. True self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about being honest with yourself, even when it stings, and having the courage to take the necessary steps forward. So, while kindness is a virtue that we should cherish and practice, it is not the one-size-fits-all solution to every problem. Sometimes to make real change, we have to move beyond the surface-level kindness and dig deeper into what truly serves us and others. Tough love is a concept that many of us find difficult to grasp, especially in a world that celebrates empathy, kindness, and compassion. But tough love, when applied correctly, is one of the most powerful tools for change and growth. It's not about being cruel or harsh for the sake of it. It's about being honest, direct, and willing to make the hard calls that others might avoid because they are uncomfortable or confrontational. In fact, tough love is often the most loving thing you can give to someone who needs it. You see, the world is full of people who want to be comfortable, who want to avoid pain, and who want to be told everything is going to be okay, even when their behavior or situation tells a different story. But the truth is, comfort doesn't lead to progress. Comfort doesn't push anyone to reach their potential. Growth happens when you face discomfort, when you're forced to confront hard truths about yourself, and when you're held accountable for your actions. Tough love is about holding people whether it's a friend, a family member, or even yourself, accountable for their choices. It's about recognizing that sometimes kindness and gentle encouragement aren't enough. Sometimes people need to be shown the consequences of their actions in a way that will make them take notice. It's not easy and it's not comfortable, but it is necessary. Think about it. How many times have we stayed in situations because we were too afraid to tell someone the truth? We've been afraid to tell a friend that their behavior is self-destructive or that they're making poor choices that will come back to haunt them. We've been afraid to step up and speak the truth because we didn't want to hurt their feelings or cause tension. But by doing that, we're actually preventing them from growing. We're enabling them to stay in their patterns, to keep making mistakes, and to stay stuck. That's where tough love comes in. It forces us to take the blinders off and confront what's really going on, even when it's painful. Tough love doesn't just apply to others, though. It's equally important to give it to yourself. How often do we allow ourselves to wallow in self-pity, to make excuses for our failures, to allow fear to dictate our decisions? Kindness to ourselves can sometimes turn into complacency. It can allow us to procrastinate, to delay our dreams, and to stay in places we've outgrown. Tough love is the voice inside that says, "You're better than this. Stop making excuses. Get up and keep moving forward." It's the voice that pushes you to work harder when you'd rather quit, to stay committed when things get tough, and to hold yourself to the standards you know you are capable of meeting. Tough love is also about not accepting mediocrity in your life. When we settle for less than we deserve, when we don't demand more from ourselves or others, we allow mediocrity to take root. We tolerate behaviors, habits, and mindsets that hold us back. But tough love doesn't tolerate mediocrity. It demands excellence. It challenges complacency. It's the voice that encourages you to step out of your comfort zone and pursue the life you deserve, even when the road is hard and the challenges seem insurmountable. It's important to recognize that tough love isn't about being unkind or cold-hearted. In fact, it comes from a place of deep care and respect for the other person. It's about understanding that in the long run, the person you love will benefit from the hard truth, the straight talk, and the push to grow. When you offer tough love, you're saying, "I believe in you enough to not let you settle for anything less than your best." That's the power of tough love. It transforms people by showing them their own potential and holding them to a higher standard. Tough love is also about knowing when to step back and let someone face their own consequences. As much as we may want to shield the people we care about from pain, sometimes the best way to show love is to let them experience the natural outcome of their actions. When you constantly step in and save someone from their mistakes, you rob them of the chance to learn, to grow, and to develop the resilience they need to succeed. Tough love is about giving people the space they need to learn from their failures and empowering them to take responsibility for their own actions. It's a mindset that challenges us to be more than just well-meaning. It asks us to step into our power, to stand firm in our beliefs, and to give the gift of growth, even when it's uncomfortable. Whether you're giving tough love to others or applying it to yourself, you're making a choice to put growth above comfort, to prioritize long-term success over short-term ease. And that, my friends, is where real transformation happens. While kindness is a virtue we all aspire to embody, there's a danger in taking it too far. Excessive kindness, where we go beyond what is necessary and appropriate, can be just as damaging as cruelty. It may feel like a good thing, a way to make others happy and maintain peace, but in reality, it can undermine your own well-being and prevent those around you from growing in meaningful ways. At its core, excessive kindness can lead to self-sacrifice. When you are constantly prioritizing others' needs over your own, when you bend over backward to make sure everyone is comfortable or content, you lose sight of your own goals, your dreams, and your desires. This might seem noble at first, but over time you can become emotionally drained, physically exhausted, and resentful. You give and give until you have nothing left to give. And yet the expectations of others don't decrease, they only grow. And the imbalance continues to widen. In these situations, your kindness shifts from something genuine to something that becomes a source of personal harm. Furthermore, excessive kindness can create an environment where people stop learning to take responsibility for their actions. We all know that life is full of challenges and obstacles. But if we shield others from the consequences of their own mistakes, we do them a great disservice. By constantly covering for someone or making excuses for their bad behavior, we rob them of the opportunity to learn from their errors. This may be done out of a sense of empathy, wanting to protect them from hurt or embarrassment, but in doing so, you prevent their growth. People need to experience the natural consequences of their actions to understand the impact of their choices. And without that, they will never develop the resilience and wisdom that come with overcoming failure. Excessive kindness can also enable toxic behavior. You may love someone deeply, but if you continually make excuses for their harmful actions, you are enabling them to continue that behavior. Whether it's in a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even within a work environment, kindness should not mean tolerating disrespect, dishonesty, or manipulation. Being overly kind can result in you accepting behavior that is beneath you, or allowing others to walk all over you because you're unwilling to confront the discomfort of setting boundaries or saying no. Over time, this can lead to resentment and frustration as you become the person who constantly accommodates others, sacrificing your own needs in the process. Another danger of excessive kindness is losing your voice. When you're always concerned with being kind and making others feel comfortable, you might find yourself swallowing your own opinions, desires, and needs. You begin to prioritize keeping the peace over speaking your truth. This leads to an erosion of your personal power and voice. By being too accommodating, you lose the courage to stand up for what you believe in, to assert your needs, and to pursue the things that matter most to you. In essence, you start living for everyone else and neglect your own life and aspirations. Excessive kindness can also create a false sense of dependency in others. When we are constantly giving and helping without expecting anything in return, we might unintentionally teach others that they don't need to take responsibility for their own well-being or success. They come to rely on you, and while this might feel like you're doing a good thing, it can actually hinder their ability to be independent and self-sufficient. People need to learn how to solve their own problems, make their own decisions, and deal with their own struggles. When we overcompensate with kindness, we rob them of that opportunity. Another subtle danger of excessive kindness is that it can lead to manipulation. While most of us give from a place of good intentions, there are people who will exploit our kindness for their own benefit. Whether it's through guilt, emotional manipulation, or passive-aggressive behavior, they learn how to use your kindness as a tool to get what they want. The more you give, the more they take. And the cycle continues. Your kindness, which once came from a place of love and generosity, becomes a tool for others to control and manipulate your actions. Finally, excessive kindness can prevent you from setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Without boundaries, you will always be at the mercy of others' demands and expectations. When you're overly kind, you may feel compelled to say yes to everything, even when you know it's not good for you. Saying no becomes difficult because you don't want to disappoint anyone, but in doing so, you neglect your own needs and desires. Over time, this can lead to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-respect. In short, while kindness is essential to creating meaningful connections and fostering a compassionate world, excessive kindness, without boundaries, purpose, or consideration of its impact, can lead to personal harm, hinder growth, and even enable toxic dynamics. It's important to recognize when kindness crosses the line from being a tool of positive change to something that diminishes your power, prevents growth, and compromises your own well-being. Kindness is often regarded as one of the highest virtues, a quality that can bridge gaps, heal wounds, and create connections that transcend differences. It's something we're encouraged to practice every day, and rightly so. However, kindness without boundaries can quickly become a dangerous trap. When you practice kindness without clear limits or an understanding of when to say enough, it can erode your personal well-being and disrupt the dynamics of your relationships. At its core, kindness should be about giving, whether it's giving love, support, or a helping hand. But when kindness becomes unconditional, when you give without any consideration for your own needs or for the situation at hand, it can lead to self-neglect. You begin to focus so much on others that you forget about yourself, your needs, your desires, your time. These things become secondary as you prioritize everyone else. The more you give without stopping to check in with yourself, the more you deplete your own resources. This can lead to burnout, stress, and a growing sense of resentment. You've given so much of yourself that there's nothing left. Kindness without boundaries also encourages unhealthy dependency. When you constantly offer your time, your help, your emotional energy to others, you may unintentionally foster a sense of dependency in those around you. Rather than encouraging independence and growth, your endless giving can make people rely on you more and more, even when they have the capacity to handle things on their own. It can create an environment where others never learn to take responsibility for themselves because they know you'll always step in to fix things. This can lead to resentment, not only from you, who feel like you're being taken advantage of, but also from the other person who is subconsciously being enabled to remain stuck in a cycle of dependence. Without boundaries, your kindness can also be exploited. There are individuals who will see your kindness as a way to manipulate you into doing what they want. They may use guilt, emotional manipulation, or flattery to take advantage of your good nature. Over time, you might find yourself doing things that you don't want to do, saying yes when you want to say no, simply because you don't want to disappoint or upset someone. This exploitation doesn't come from a place of malice, but it can slowly erode your sense of self and personal autonomy. You're no longer giving out of a genuine desire to help. You're giving because you're afraid of the consequences of not giving. Lack of boundaries also leads to unbalanced relationships. Healthy relationships, whether they are friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional connections, rely on mutual respect, give and take, and the understanding that each person's needs are valid. Kindness, when practiced with boundaries, allows you to meet others' needs without neglecting your own. But kindness without boundaries can tip the scale. One person may do all the giving and the other may do all the taking. This dynamic can lead to resentment, frustration, and a feeling of being unappreciated. You might find yourself feeling exhausted, drained, and wondering why the relationship doesn't feel as fulfilling as it should. When kindness is given without limits, it can create an imbalance, where one person is constantly sacrificing while the other takes without reciprocating. Kindness without boundaries also prevents growth and change. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is not to give them exactly what they want, but to push them to be better, to face challenges, and to learn from their mistakes. Boundaries allow for that growth to occur. Without them, you might keep rescuing someone from the consequences of their actions, perpetuating a cycle of dependency and stagnation. The reality is that true kindness isn't about always making life easier for someone else. It's about helping them grow stronger, more independent, and more capable of handling life's challenges. Boundaries encourage people to stand on their own 2 feet, to face hardships, and to develop resilience. In personal growth, boundaries help preserve your identity and goals. Without boundaries, kindness can blur the line between who you are and who others want you to be. You can become so focused on meeting the needs of others that you forget to focus on your own dreams, ambitions, and values. You start living for others rather than yourself. And this can lead to a profound sense of dissatisfaction and loss of direction. Boundaries are essential for protecting your own goals and maintaining a sense of self. They remind you that your time and energy are valuable, and that in order to show up as your best self for others, you must first take care of yourself. Kindness without boundaries also leads to disempowerment. When you give and give without limits, you may inadvertently take away someone else's chance to be empowered. By constantly stepping in to solve problems, fix issues, or offer support, you might be denying others the opportunity to face challenges on their own. When people are always relying on your kindness, they may not learn the lessons they need to learn, nor will they develop the strength and resilience they need to face difficulties in the future. Kindness, when practiced with boundaries, allows others to rise to the occasion and take responsibility for their own lives. Without boundaries, you essentially create a cycle where others remain reliant on you, unable to move forward without your help. Without boundaries, you lose your ability to say no. The most powerful tool you have in protecting your own well-being is the ability to say no when something doesn't serve you. Kindness can make saying no difficult, especially when you want to avoid hurting someone's feelings or letting them down. But when you fail to say no, you find yourself stretched too thin, overwhelmed by requests that don't align with your priorities. You lose control of your time, your energy, and your resources. Saying no isn't unkind. It's an essential part of maintaining healthy relationships with others and with yourself. Boundaries help you protect your space, your time, and your mental health, allowing you to give from a place of abundance, not depletion. When kindness is practiced without boundaries, it loses its power to be a force for good. It becomes something that diminishes, drains, and disables not just you, but the people around you. Boundaries are the necessary framework within which kindness can flourish. They allow you to give freely, knowing that your own needs and limits are respected. They help ensure that kindness serves both you and the people you're trying to help without causing harm or fostering unhealthy dependence. In essence, kindness with boundaries is sustainable, nurturing, and empowering. It's when kindness is given without limits that it begins to lose its true value. In a world that often rewards passivity or aggression, assertiveness stands as a powerful and necessary skill. Assertiveness isn't about being forceful or domineering. Rather, it's about expressing yourself clearly, respectfully, and confidently, while honoring both your needs and the needs of others. It is the bridge between passivity and aggression, where you stand firm in your beliefs, set clear boundaries, and communicate your desires and opinions in a way that respects both your rights and the rights of others. The call for assertiveness is not just a call for better communication, it's a call for personal empowerment and mutual respect. At its core, assertiveness is rooted in self-respect. When you are assertive, you are honoring your own needs, feelings, and rights. It's about recognizing that your thoughts, feelings, and desires are valid, and that you deserve to express them just as much as anyone else. Too often, we suppress our thoughts or stay silent in situations because we fear judgment, rejection, or conflict. We allow others to speak for us or dictate how we should feel, leaving our own voice unheard. But assertiveness is about reclaiming that voice. It's the internal shift that says, I matter. What I have to say matters. And when you believe that, you become more confident and comfortable speaking your truth no matter the circumstances.